incredibly, on this episode of the Vital Vegas podcast, you not only get an interview with a Las Vegas headliner, you get an interview with another truly interesting dude. This guy has stories that you would not believe. He has worked at very high-profile Las Vegas resorts, and along the way, he got the idea to repurpose casino felts, and he has created a line of clothing, and they are every Vegas lover's dream because you get to take a piece of Vegas home with you. I'm going to let him talk. How about that? His name is Seth, and Seth, take it away, bro.
My name is Seth Debowy. I am the owner and president of Vegas Felt Company.
So Vegas Felt Company, I became familiar with a few years ago. They produce clothing that uses felt from casino tables, which I thought was a great idea. And now there's been a little time to kind of get into it, and I love learning kind of the inside story behind this. So I'd love to hear maybe just a little bit of background about how the idea came about.
All right, basically what it was I was trying to think of the way to repurpose these table layouts that were just being thrown out when they were used up. Various different ways to be used up. You could have cigarette burns. You could just, if you think of the abuse it takes in a casino, between the ash and the spilled drinks and et cetera, things have to get rotated out. And they were throwing it out. And originally I wanted one to put on the wall as just a memento, just to have, as a cool kind of thing.
That's a very Vegas thing to do.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that do that too. But it turned into, after thinking about it, what if we actually did things with it? There might be a market there. And after talking with several people, couple in big business, they're like, hey, you got something. So kind of rolled with it.
So it's hard to impress upon people how long it took to even just get to the point of that first thing, whatever it was. I think it was a shirt, right? That was like the first product you produced.
First thing was the first run of shirts. And really, the delay and why it took so long was this has never been done before. I had to go through a lot of different avenues to try to figure out, A, if it's legal. The Gaming Commission had to approve, to make sure that I wasn't making a device or anything like that. And
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, once I explained...
You really want to make sure that this shirt is not used.
You can't use it for roulette again, Number 6, you can't do that. And the joke is, anybody could write out a board and gamble on it. That's
right.
That's
just people. I'm pretty sure people have, say, craps have been doing that in alleys for some time.
I'm pretty sure it started in alleys before there was an actual casino, and that became that was the casino. But so there was a licensing. There was the Gaming Commission finding a place to actually produce something that had never been done before. All the designs had to been come up with. I use this really good guy out of Los Angeles who is a whiz with these designs. Kind of tell him what we want, what we were thinking, how we want to use it, and then a day later you'll have 6 different options for one idea, which was fantastic. But there was just so much. I mean, whenever you do something that's never ever been done before, there's so much ground you have to take that first shovel dig of.
Yeah, kind of the R&D process of it, and it's a little hard to imagine what we're talking about since it's a podcast. But the clothing is not actually made of table felt, but there are kind of accents on the shirts and hats and the merchandise where there are kind of little pieces of felt. Some of it, maybe you could explain, some of it actually comes from tables that have been played on, and other pieces have a kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, a simulated felt that have the look and kind of texture of felt, but don't actually come from tables where people have played.
We'll do a little Felt 101 with you right now.
Please.
Felt really isn't used on tables, period, anymore, anywhere. There's only a couple tables in a casino and only some casinos that actually use real felt.
I know that.
It's stunning.
I'm having a moment. So when people
the light
talk
just
about,
got brighter in here.
When people talk about felt, they're not.
It's a generic term now. It really is a generic term. The actual felt you'll find on some of the major baccarat tables. You'll find it's really a microfiber material, sort of like the couch you're sitting on right now. And probably at home listening to this. It's probably the same stuff. Easier to clean, a lot more durable, less expensive to produce, easier to print on. So they move towards that. And now really all you find are the microfibers, even though we still call it felt.
Right. Well, that's shocking because I've always just assumed it's maybe not. I don't really know what felt
Who
is.
thinks about it?
I just figured it was a kind of material.
Just make sure the number comes in. I just want to win. I don't care what it's made of.
I think people would find it interesting that they can. Well, okay. Let's start with what table games are felts being used from, because I think the bulk of what I've seen is roulette. Is roulette kind of the at this point the sole game that's being used?
If you think in your mind about what a layout looks like, let's say you're playing blackjack, 80% of that surface is plain. It's just green. You have
not some of the more interesting designs they have on a shirt.
Again, you just want to win. When you're playing the game, you don't care what the felt looks like.
Right.
So in terms of purposes for clothing and interesting and picking a number or something recognizable, you could get 6, or how many people sit at a blackjack table? 8 when they're scattered around?
Usually when I'm there, I'm a high roller, so I just buy out
You're
all
alone.
the chairs.
Yeah, you're
do
alone.
not sit down next to me.
You have a pit boss behind your dealer, and then just
and I have a drink
and a
in
cocktail
each spot
waitress,
that's
right?
all for me. Why would I want to share?
Cocktail waitress or waiter. I have to be careful with that.
I haven't seen one yet, but I'm sure it could happen.
Yeah,
This is not Vegas. This is not some reservation somewhere. We have actual cocktail waitresses, and we're proud of it.
We are proud of it. So many funny stories about that coming out in the late 90s, yes.
So pretty much it's roulette at this point. Of course
it's more recognizable.
I think you've been hearing from me for 6 years that I want craps to be used, but I realize that I'm going to be wearing a shirt with a roulette number. Now, you mentioned that people, when they order these, can specify the number. Could you talk about how they're doing that and kind of why they're picking a number? Or?
On the hats, we use flex fit hats. They come in 2 sizes, and between the 2 sizes, it pretty much fits everybody's head. What I wanted to do is create something that you could make just for yourself. Let's say pick a number 1 to 36, including 0 or 00. Anything.
No, not anything. The number that I play pretty consistently
and this is what people do.
Is 25.
Okay.
That was when I really got into roulette, that was the age of my girlfriend. So I had an emotional attachment to it. And I tend to play the numbers around that age as well. But anyway, sorry to take you down that path.
No.
Okay, 25 is my answer.
So what we would do is...
I hope there's a prize. If I
yeah, we'll roll for it later. What we do is we take the actual number 25 from an actual game-used casino layout, cut it out, embroider it on the front of the hat. Now, in the back of the hat, we could either put your name or a saying, I win, or, this is my number, whatever you want.
Chicken dinner? Okay.
If you wanted to.
All right.
I wouldn't recommend it. That's so old at this point, isn't it?
What are you trying to say?
No, they still say it in casinos, too. And I look at them and I'm like, why?
Something the millennials say then, like this
hell yeah,
hat is on fleek, or one of those phrases. It's GOAT. I heard that one the other day. Greatest of all time.
Whatever you want.
I would put GOAT on the back of my hat, just to seem like I'm cool. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. So on the front of the hat, we have number 25. On the back of the hat, we could have, what did you want?
I'm going to say GOAT.
GOAT.
GOAT, yeah. Greatest of all time.
So we put GOAT.
Yeah.
And then right below that, you have the Vegas Falco embroidered in, and below that, authentic. Now, every piece of clothing or articles of anything, whether it be a souvenir or anything we're going to produce in the future, if it's real, off a table, game played, authentic will appear somewhere on the product, just to make sure that it's almost like you're walking around with the letter of authenticity, which we also send you.
Very nice. Oh, I like that letter of authenticity thing. So do you have to buy this felt from the casinos? How does that work? Like, I mean, I don't really get the whole gaming commission thing, but I could understand a casino being concerned how their felt is being used as kind of
Well, logos obviously you can't use unless you have a logo agreement.
Casinos are so touchy about
You
that
know,
stuff. What
I
the
don't know
hell?
what the big deal is.
Don't they understand this is the internet age? You just grab the logo off the internet. And
You know, it's
just
funny like
slap
that
it on
too.
there.
Major League Baseball, the NFL, NASCAR. You know, for some reason
good
they all
point.
have a problem with that stuff.
That's why everybody has the big game in Vegas. Nobody has the Super Bowl party. Everybody has it, and I'm pretty sure
You're gonna have to edit that out.
Yeah, I'll be facing legal action just for mentioning.
At
the
least
word.
you could sing Happy Birthday now because that ran out, so we could sing Happy Birthday to each other without getting sued. So really, what I want is people, if they could, just to go to the website, take a look.
Yeah, say the name again.
Vegasfelt.com.
Vegasfelt.com. And have you faced any kind of supply problem? Because I wouldn't think that casinos go through that much.
Bigger
felt,
casinos go through 8 to 12 layouts per week.
And they're just
That's one casino.
they're swapping them out to.
You throw them out.
But I just love the idea for a lot of reasons, but it's not the recycling part because I don't know what to make of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the idea of extending your Vegas experience when you go back home. You know, for me, some of the best times I've had in my life were spent at a blackjack table or a craps table. Also some of the worst, but those memories, there's something kind of tactile about the felt and the feel of the table that I love being able to have that with me, on me, around me. And every time I look at that shirt, I'm going to remember my Vegas trip, and touching it just brings back memories. And if you're a player, I just think it's unique and it's fun, and it's a fun way to kind of take a piece of Vegas home with you.
When you actually rub it for good luck while you're sitting there, as you have your number 25 for good luck, and you could rub your head or whatever it is, wherever that would be positioned for you. It's incredible when you think of how much money passed over those numbers that you're wearing. How many chips physically went over that number? Who played on that number? The celebrities, the sports stars, the politicians, and I can't name any, but we know they play also.
Yep.
Just when you think of the stories, you know, it's if the felt could talk, what would it say?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now you own it. You know, this is your piece of Vegas, of the gaming experience, and that's the collectible part of it. That's the collectible aspect part of it that I thought was really cool.
So thank you so much to Seth for chatting about that. And he wanted me to mention as well that everything they make is made in America, which is rare. Almost impossible to find clothing that's actually made in America. And as I was wrapping up the interview, he drops in this other little tidbit I found also fascinating.
Casinos have, over the years, if you're a multi-million-dollar player and you had a lucky streak, let's say at craps, they would, as a gift. Now, we know casinos can basically gift anything, including trips to the super big game or anything like that. What they would do is they'd actually give you the layout to take home. Now,
I love that.
I don't know what they would use it for on their private jet. You know, maybe a nice something.
I would use it as a little blanket. I would use my lucky felt and just curl up under it.
We have blankets coming out.
Hey, nice.
Seat
I
covers.
think you have the marketing thing down. So that's cool. Well, I love that because that makes me think that really, if you're a big enough player, you could just point at something.
Yeah.
Do you really need that craps table? Like,
you could just point at people and just say, "Do you really need that employee?" And they just go, "No, take it." You know, it doesn't matter. You like that chandelier? Great, we'll give you the whole ceiling. I mean, it depends how much you spend, right?
This cocktail waitress.
Oh, that's never happened. Never.
None of.
I know of people that have surrounded themselves by employees handpicked by them, whether it's their shift or not. And just so you know, for the people that are listening to this, if you're like a $10, $15 player, you're not getting the layout.
Well, nobody's listening to this, so that.
Oh, thank goodness. Vegasfelt.com.
Funny guy, cool to hang with. He's going places, so check out his website. He may have mentioned it during our interview, and I cannot wait to wear my shirt with felt or whatever it is. I'm going to keep calling it felt because calling it micro